I imagine you guys have seen by now Ivy's video about leaving Raid for a little bit at the very least. If you haven't, I'll link it below. You should check it out. You get to hear directly from her why she's moving on. And she's doing lots of other things. She's still in content creation. She's making some killer Eternal Evolution content. She's still enjoying Infinite Magic Raid, and she's going to be doing a lot of other stuff. But she's going to quit Raid content for a while, which is not a surprise. I think maybe it's a surprise that she was like the first one to go in the last couple of weeks. I don't know that I would have expected that from her. She's seemed very fired up about. She seems to really enjoy Raid. She's generally pretty. She definitely calls them out and stuff in the content creator chat when they're doing ridiculous stuff, but she's always very positive and constructive with it. I did not realize that she was so frustrated with Raid. Frustrated with Raid, I don't think is the right word. Frustrated with Plarium, I think is the appropriate sentiment for most of us. I'm frustrated that Raid's not what it should be, but I'm frustrated ultimately with Plarium and the way that they're doing business lately. So yeah, kind of interesting timing too. I don't think she's going to be the last one. I don't think she's going to be the last one to leave. If things don't change, if Plarium doesn't start doing things differently, I think this is probably going to be a bit of a trend that we see moving forward. And again, it's not a surprise. I just got done saying this. Like, people are looking for something else. They just need something else to do. That's not Raid. And Raid has positioned itself in this space very well. There's a lot of things they've done that were very strategic and good. And the graphics, I think, is a huge thing. And now games are coming out that have graphics. So what's happening is people are trying different things and remembering these games are supposed to be fun. These games are supposed to be fun, and people are having a blast in Eternal Evolution right now. Everyone is loving that game because it's fun. It's good. It's not a punishment. It's not brutal. It's difficult. It's not like you jump in and do everything on the first day. It's difficult. It's very challenging. It has its frustrating stages where you're like, how the hell do I get through this? This is driving me nuts. I've had those moments too, but it's fun and it's challenging, and small upgrades make an impact, and the rewards are beyond anything I've seen in mobile gaming for the events and stuff that they do. The events are incredibly generous. It's not paywall. Like, I could do a whole video just talking about all the reasons Eternal Evolution is so good. And people are checking it out and dropping Raid immediately. I'm still getting comments every day on both channels about the fact that they're quitting Raid for Eternal Evolution, or they've found some other game that came out recently, because like I said, they're figuring it out, and there's about to be a wave of games that are gonna have it figured out, and Raid doesn't get to be the one that stands alone anymore with the graphics, and no amount of marketing is gonna change that when there's some solid competition. The problem is there wasn't a lot of solid competition for a while, and anytime something that seemed like solid competition came along, those developers would lose their minds and ruin it somehow. And we've kind of come past that. So yeah, I think it gives you so much more perspective. It's hard to remember, or maybe I should say it's easy to forget. When you've been playing Raid and you've been playing Raid exclusively for a while, it's easy to forget that these games are supposed to be fun. And I'm not saying there's nothing fun going on in Raid, to be clear. Again, there's apparently no amount of clarification I can give. Some of you are just going to miss the point intentionally, and that's fine. Most of you are understanding what I'm saying. The game is fun. There are a lot of good elements to the game. For example, let's talk about some of the stuff that I think Plarium is doing well. One thing that they never let us down on is the art. The new champ designs, they're getting more and more creative with the new champ designs, and like they're looking real slick, and their kits. They're putting out some very interesting kits. Whoever's designing their new champions, that whole department is really doing a good job. We're getting a lot of really cool, interesting champs of varying utility, and they're fitting into the game. They do a good job of regularly introducing champs that fit into the game. You know what I mean? And that's tough to do. That's something they're doing very well. Art, they literally never let us down on. If they put the effort forth to do it, it's always fantastic. Again, it's kind of a bummer that they didn't really do anything for Halloween, and they don't do more with this than they could. But when they do it, when we see that they've put some effort into the art aspect of this game, it's phenomenal. The new champ kits are solid and interesting, and they keep introducing champs that do things that no other champs do, new mechanics. Creatively, they're doing a really good job there. They've kept a pretty good pace of dropping content. How you feel about the content is a different story, but we've had some pretty big game-changing drops. Hydra dropped, and most recently Iron Twins, and they're adding Doom Tower bosses, and there's some more stuff on the way. You know what I mean? I don't think they've given up. I don't think that a lot of people are saying that they think that Ray's just trying to do one big last push and then they're going to cash out. I don't think that's the case. I think they intend to be here for the long haul, which is why it makes it so much more confusing and frustrating that they're doing so much of this other really important stuff so poorly. Because it's the stuff that's not complicated that they're doing wrong. It's it's so baffling. And I think that there's obviously been a rift in the relationship between Playerium and player base. I think since the Foley fusion, I think that was the moment where there was a clear shift in the way Playerium behaved. Before that, it didn't feel like this. There wasn't this contentious element to the air between us and Playerium. And then they did what they did with the Foley fusion. And it caught everybody so off guard, because it was like, hold on a minute. How the hell do you think we're going to be okay with this? And then they just never corrected course. You know what I mean? That they've continued to do stuff like that. And it's real strange. It's real strange. Like, if you just sit and think about it, it's odd. What is the goal? This is the most punishing mobile game I've ever played. I've never seen a developer like punish their players and make it so grueling to be here and be part of the game. She talked a lot about, like, in her video, she talked about the summon events and how they're just constantly bombarding us with summon events, and it's like it's so frequent and ill scheduled that it's not even fun when you finally do participate in one. You know what I mean? It's just constant pressure of, like, am I gonna regret this? What are they gonna announce tomorrow that's gonna make me regret spending the shards I've been saving? I've been saving shards on this account for a month. At some point, I am gonna summon them. They're gonna drop an event that's good enough for me to summon them. But I'm also gonna be like, what am I gonna screw myself out of here? You know what I mean? Like, I'll probably wait for the fusion, which will come around mid-December, I reckon. But then the fusion might not even be that good. I might not have even wanted to wait for the fusion, and I might skip some events early December that would have been better for me. But it's just like, that's what I mean. Everything they do, the stakes are so high, and it almost feels like it never pays off. It's so unnecessarily heavy and brutal And there can be an aspect of that that's fun. That's why the Dark Souls series is so popular, right? It's not that people don't like very difficult, very challenging things, but there's just so little genuine positivity, it feels like, from Plarium. They're gonna do soon a real good thing that a lot of people are really gonna like. And we're all gonna cling to that. And use it to like defend the next several bad things they do until they do enough bad things in a row again to disconnect us from the good thing they did, and then make everybody miserable and frustrated again, and then they're going to do a good thing, and that's the cycle. And that's such a strange way to behave. That's such a strange way to find your success. And I think that a player base can only go so many rounds of that. And I say all of that to say that's where we're at now, I think. I think we're at the point where everyone is just about, a lot of players have just about reached their limit. It's not that there's not fun to be had in this game. It's not that there's not a lot of cool stuff about this game and a lot of positive things about it. It's that the negative that Plarium brings to it so drastically outweighs it that it sucks away from the things that are fun. I can jump in here and build a team and get deep into Hydra and have a good time doing it. But I'm gonna log in tomorrow to something else shitty Plarium has done. That's the cloud hanging over everything they do that's good, is they're doing so much more shit that's frustrating. And you can't please a mobile game player base. You can't. People carry their frustrations from game to game. People are unreasonable. There's gonna be that. And I understand it's a real tough job, but the stuff that they're making tough is not that tough. The fact that events always cost you rather than grant you anything is not complicated. That's not something that you should have a tough time organizing and figuring out. Constantly having summon events where there's always a risk that you're missing out on something else that they might announce tomorrow, doing that every day, like, no one likes that. That's old. It's frustrating, and it's old, and it's draining. You know what I mean? Promo codes. You introduce this promo code system. You don't give the content creators promo codes ever. We do get stuff to give away every month, which is dope, but like, there's so much more fun stuff they could have been doing with that. Everyone could get all the creators could get a personalized promo code for their audience. You know what I mean? You could also release promo codes sometimes that aren't exclusively for new players. Holidays are a great excuse to do that, and they just keep doing it for new players only. Every time they do something new out of the box, the Halloween wheel, that seemed like a really cool idea until we found out all the details about it. It's just like they just suck, and people are tired of it, and people are quitting. A lot of people are quitting, and now the content creators. This is Ivy's full-time job too. She's doing pretty well in Raid. She'll take a hit. So you have to understand, it's frustrated her to the point where it's like, I'll take the hit and income. I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. You know what I mean? She's enjoying Eternal Evolution and Infinite Magic Raid so much that she's gonna take a hit from quitting Raid to focus on those. I'm in a unique situation here where I get to take my frustration with Raid and turn it into fun projects. I get to work on skits and do things like that. And I have a daily series that I get to just wake up and record and upload every morning. I don't have to dig around in this game and look for content. I'm fortunate enough. It took me a long time to work myself into that position, but I'm fortunate enough to have worked myself into a position where I get to start my day recording a video for Raid. And now I'm at a point where if I don't want to make another video for Raid for the day, I don't have to. I'm doing better in the other games anyway. I'm here because, like I said, I don't have a desire to leave. But I'm not really excited about jumping into this game and finding videos to make anymore. As I feel compelled, I'll make a skit. When, you know, it's not like they're not giving me a lot of material. It's just a matter of now, how compelled am I to invest my energy in Raid? I'm going to make sure all my other stuff is squared away first, and then if I've got extra time in the day, I'll come back and do Raid videos. But that's kind of where we're at. So, again, I'm not like about to leave, but my situation's a little different. I don't have to spend a lot of time in the game every day to make my videos for Raid. So there's not a lot of, I don't feel a lot of pressure. It's easy for me to disconnect from it during the day if I want to. I don't have to hang around and be that frustrated by it on such an ongoing basis. It's going to be interesting to see how things go with the other creators. I know some of them are not really bothered. We were doing the hangout in Chosen stream earlier, and Deadwood was in, and I was talking about like how awful Plarium's been, and he's like, maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but what are they doing? And I just rattled off the list of things they've done since Halloween. He's like, yeah, that's pretty bad. So I think some of them are less bothered by it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch play out. How will Plarium respond if they start losing content creators? They don't really seem to care about losing players. They haven't displayed any concern about losing players anyway. They cared about that 1-star review bomb back in the day. They cared about that, but that's because that affects their data for the shareholders. You know what I mean? I don't guess player retention is a big concern. But it'll be interesting to see how they start reacting if they start losing content creators. If they make any sort of change or pivot or anything like that. I don't know, it's gonna be an interesting next 3 or 4 weeks, I reckon. But we'll see. But anyway, yeah. You know, I'm sure Ivy will be fine. Again, she's making really good content on Eternal Evolution. She seems to be having a really good time over there. She's doing Infinite Magic Raid stuff. She's got a vlog channel. She'll be fine. I'm sure she'll be fine. And maybe she'll come back. Maybe Plarium will change what they're doing, and she'll come back. I'll be interested to hear from her in like 2 weeks. After having quit Raid for like 2 weeks, I'd be interested to hear how she feels. I'll have to check in with her in about 2 weeks and see how she's feeling. Because I bet it's going to be real good. Most people that quit Raid in my Discord, they'll talk to me a little while later, a few weeks later, and go, man, I have never felt better. I've never felt better than not logging into Raid every day. So it's just, that's how frustrating it is. It is a fun game. There's a lot of interesting stuff to do. But I think, again, a lot of us can probably share in the sentiment that the game is not really what's keeping us around anymore. I enjoy the community. I enjoy the outlet to make the kind of skits I like to make, and it's part of my daily routine. I wake up and have my coffee with you guys and chat about whatever. And sometimes there's actual stuff to do in the account, and sometimes we just talk. Like that's a pretty cool part of the day for me. I feel like I could quit and not miss the game at all. It's all the other stuff I'd miss. Anyway, that's it. I figured we'd just chat a little bit. If you haven't seen Ivy's video, again, I'll link it below. You should go check it out. And go show her some love on her channel. She's doing really well. I gotta go check out the vlog channel. That'll be a fun one. And I reckon that's it. I'm also gonna link Eternal Evolution below if you want to check it out. I highly recommend that you do if you haven't yet. I'm sure you've heard about it. If you've been watching my videos, you've heard about it. Hell, Hades seems to be really enjoying it. Every other content creator I know that's tried it has really enjoyed it so far. I think Darth may have just downloaded it, so I'm sure he's gonna love it too. It's worth a look. Again, just to see what it's actually supposed to be like, because they are nailing it so far. So far, they're nailing it. So that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. Enough rambling. Appreciate you guys watching as always. I enjoy chatting with like 99% of you. And I'll see you later.